Hey everybody, I am just so excited to be able to hop on here. It's been a while since I've gone live, I think, from my regular profile and just kind of hung out and chatted with people. So I thought I'd come on and talk about something that we talked about in my Kingdom Women group about having clear and joy-filled goals and a mission. And it was interesting, so we kind of went around the Zoom room and talked to each of the women and said, okay, is your mission clear? And is it joy-filled? Or both, or neither? And to really look at, when we think about our lives and what we're doing, do we actually have some clarity on where we're headed and what we're doing? And then is it joy-filled? And a lot of the women that I work with have a tendency to end up in environments where they're working for somebody else and they're working on their mission and their goals, and they're trying on the side to kind of have their own goals met. And so if you can type in, let me know who's here, or just type in and just say hi, welcome, whatever, and then let me know, do you have a clear life goal, and is it joy-filled? And it was interesting because a lot of people have an idea of what clear means to them. They know what they want to be doing, but the end goal isn't clear. Why are they doing it? What is the end result? And do you have an end result that's clear enough to be able to invite somebody to that end result? So in my masterclass, the end result is that women no longer have imposter syndrome or self-doubt. They have a very strong relationship with God, and they have speaker skills that can take them to any platform that they're invited to. So that to me is very clear, and I enjoy doing it. So it's very, very joy-filled for me. And as we walked through the different people and saying, okay, who are you working for? So a lot of the women that I work with are working for a church or for somebody else, and they spend a lot of time and energy working for somebody else, and it's hard for them to step back long enough to say, what is it that I want to do for me? What is my life goal? Where am I headed? And yes, hi Lisa. And to be able to have somebody that kind of come along with you. So Lisa says, yes, this is an area where I really struggle. I could probably really use your masterclass. Yes, and it's fun for me to be able to come alongside somebody and say, okay, where is it that you want to go? What is it? Can you step back enough? And so even one of the ladies, I said, what if money was not an issue? Could you take money off the table, and money was not an issue, and you got to just go and do what you believe God has gifted you with, and just had fun with that? What would you be doing? And what does that look like for you? And it was a challenge. You could see the struggle in her mind and in her heart of saying, okay, can I do that? Can I just really genuinely allow myself? When we talk about a divine imagination, that God gave us an imagination. So we have this divine imagination, and say, can we allow God's divine imagination to infiltrate our being, and say, what would God allow me to do? If I could just go and do anything, what would I go and do? And I ask kids this often. I ask teenagers, I'm like, hey, what do you want to do? And they're like, oh, I don't know. I'm like, well, what would you do if you could? And they're like, sleep. And I'm like, but what if you could do something really fun and get paid for it? What would you do? And all of a sudden their mind opens up, and they're just all excited, and there's so many things that they would love to do. And they get more creative about the possibilities. And as adults, we have a tendency to kind of shut that down and say, I need to be practical, I need to make money, it needs to be within the box of what expectation of what culture says, or my family says, or somebody else says, And I had a conversation with somebody else via email today who had that same conversation with somebody else, saying, oh, but your thoughts are kind of too far out there. Maybe you should just kind of stay where you're at. And I remember somebody telling me, you need to earn the right to do what God has called you to do. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I mean, I received that at the moment because I didn't know any better. And I thought, all right, can I go do what God has called me to do because God has called me to do it? And while staying in, the box of where I need to go to either have the financial, needs met, or continue making progress along the road of which I'm trying to pursue, whether it was ordination or my licensure as a therapist or whatever. There's certain things that you kind of have to do that. But do I have to wait to do what God has called me to do until all that's done? And I don't believe that's necessarily the case. I think that If we're in our particular country, it's very structured in that way, but to be creative. So for me, I was called to like speak life into people. So I'd go down to the homeless mission that would always have dates that were empty, that people didn't want to go down and preach. And so I was given the first Saturday night of the month. And what they did for me was they actually had a barbecue. So they would have a barbecue that night, so we'd have the homeless people just loved the barbecue, so they would come in. So I'd have a good audience when they came in. And we had no media. We were singing out of the hymns. It was and I don't sing well, so it wasn't really fabulous. And yet I knew that I was going down there to meet with them. I got to know them as people. When I saw them on the street pushing their carts or whatever, I could call them out and wave to them from my car as I passed by. Knew them by name, and so I was able to go and find a place to do what God has called me to do, and to not think that there's some other structure that I have to follow to be able to do what God has called me to do. So it's joy filled. So looking at that joy filled, so I would go and find places where I could go and share. Where do I get to go and share? Just go and share this truth that dynamically changed my life. And that's the joy-filled part. And then the clear part kind of took time, and really spending a lot of time with God, saying, God, what specifically do you want me to share with people? What specifically do you want me to share with people? Because I remember sitting on a hill one time, and I'm like, all right. And I heard him say, feed my sheep. And I'm like, okay. So when I think about that, and you guys might think of something different, when I hear the message, feed my sheep, I think of the sheep belong to the fold, right? So those are Christians that belong to the fold. And so I want to feed them. So I really got into this concept of revivalism and renewal, right? And so there's evangelists and then there's revivalists. And I'm really about I want to take people who love God, love Jesus, who are struggling in either their faith or their walk or fulfilling their call, and encourage them and empower them and give them those kind of tools. So when you look at your life and what you're doing, are you joy-filled, and is it clear? Is it clear what you're doing? And the more that you can have those two things, I think the more you're just going to enjoy just walking every day, because you're gonna have that I'm making God smile, I'm pleasing him, or I'm enjoying this. And so I don't know about you guys, and as you watch this, you can kind of type in, I am clear, I am joy filled, I am both, I am neither, and let me know, and then I'll come back in later and we can chat about it a little bit. But thanks for listening. I just thought I'd hop in here and just talk about that. I just really want to encourage the body of believers. We have so much to offer the world. And like I put on my story, I will believe it for you until you can believe it for yourself. I had a pastor one time tell me, he says, it sounds like you have lost all hope. And I said, well, yeah. He had a little jar on his table, and he opened it up, and he has little hearts with the word hope on him. He says, here, I'll let you borrow mine until you have your own. And that impact, that was years ago, like over 27 years ago. And that so impacted me. So I will let you borrow my hope and my confidence until you have it for yourself, and know that the truth sets people free, and you have that truth. So please share it with somebody today. All right, love you guys. Talk to you later. Bye.